Hi, welcome back to 6 Before 8 Matt. I am going to go over how I made that short soundtrack video. Used the Disco Diffusion, it's version 5.7, 3D model. Pretty much what this is about, it's pretty much goes over from speeds here. Disco Diffusion is a Google Colab notebook which leverages an AI image generating technique called clip-guided diffusion to allow you to create compelling and beautiful images from just text inputs. So this is a great guide, and it kind of pretty much rundown of what I did, and I recommend just kind of pretty much go over and read and understand what I did in this video. So here's the basic settings. Obviously before you start, kind of go over and make sure that the Google Notebook, which is the Google Colab, and pretty much the default settings. So I'll go over that just briefly in a moment here. Alright, so let's go over briefly. So that was the tutorial. This is kind of pretty much, they do have a Discord channel for further community and other questions and information. Changelog, again, zippies, kind of go over what's required. I'm currently using the pro version. There's the free version, has its limits, but it's free. And there's a pro and then the pro plus. I am trying this out using the pro. I think I paid under 20 bucks a month, somewhere around that, just experiment. The Pro Plus though, that's like 50 bucks a month, so just keep that in mind. But obviously for those that want to try it for free, this is all free for Disco Diffusion version 5.7. My specs for this that I'm running is actually on my laptop. I have an RTX 960 mobile GPU and with the Core i7. So yeah, so in order to get the this, I recommend going to Tools, Settings, so that we can set up your theme here, right? I set up the dark theme, and then also after following the speech guide, recommend go ahead and just for, you can also collapse these sections here, as I just did. I just collapsed all this stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and run over to here, and I'm going to go ahead and connect. I'm actually doing again the pro version, so I'm going to actually just show this in real time. I'm connecting here, and while that's connecting, I got to run through these settings here. So this is what I got. And let's go ahead and do a quick rundown. What is the setup initially? Before I do this, I just want to go over making sure that your folders are set up in accordance to the Colab. So these are some of the saved items here. And you'll have a folder called AI, and these are just called Disco Diffusion. This is where I have all the different, make sure your models are set up when you have the correct one. So this is the one that I'll be using along with this one, and then optional, secondary, and other models will go here. So we have the models, and then we also have your initial images. If you're going to use your own images here, I'm just giving you a sample here, along with the outputs. So these are different folders of where your input, output. I'll go over that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and close this up. So let's get back to this. Setup, pretty much it tells you what kind of GPU I'll be running. So I'll be using a Tesla T4. That's kind of the okay, you know, it's okay. There's one that's lower, I believe it's a letter K something. Definitely don't want to do that. But anyways, anything Tesla T4 and above is pretty much you're good to go. I believe there's 3 other higher GPUs that are faster processing for you to render. And it's just, if you have that, then by all means use that. I'm running through the server, cloud server from Google Colab. I am not doing this as standalone local. You can do that as well. So again, I'm not going to go over too much into this category of, so make sure you're prepping the folders. So you check this one, you can check each one pretty much you're verifying, you know, to make sure. See how there it is. A great example of what you don't want is this red one. It's probably because I have both files running twice, so that's probably why it's acting up. So if you get this, sometimes I just close it out and pretty much run it again. I'm just showing this for purpose of tutorial here, a quick one here. So you definitely want to make sure when you run these are green check marks. So yeah. So this will happen. It's normal. So either go by the default settings, follow the guide here. You also have the Discord community for assistance, but usually when this happens, I'll go back to my Disco Diffusion Colab's saved books right here, and just reopen a saved one. So I'll go ahead, and it's important, forgot to mention this, was pretty much save a copy. It's very important, excuse me, right here, save a copy. So let's say you have a default one, I save the copy, and then before you do anything, I'll open up that save copy so that way, in case you run into errors. The purpose of this, we'll go over the quick settings. This is the area that I will be saving this test pilot, which is as shown in the images out folder right here. Steps, it just pretty much how many steps do you want. Obviously the higher it takes to render, the higher the number. The lower, it's usually you want average between 100 200 for a T4. Obviously if you have a higher GPU, then by all means go more. Just keep in mind the time and rendering of that, and depending on what base you have, the free, pro, and pro plus. Height and width, scaling, TV scale, pretty much like the bordering of things. Range scale, I want to kind of match those two. And a lot of the stuff will be in the description, so please follow those guys. They actually give a more thorough tutorial on everything I'm talking about here. I'm just giving you a quick rundown. Sat scale, you usually want this higher, probably 2000 or maybe 2500. Cut and batch is very important. If you have a T4 lower, keep this at 1. If you have something higher GPU, 2 is okay, you know, or 3. Not going to get too much again into all this. There's just it's all in the guide zippies here. All this other information is just pretty much extra video in it. I don't know it all. It's just I've been testing it, constantly learning about this. This area is where you input a image. Let's say you have a Midjourney or DALL-E or etc., or even play around AI. Wherever you get your image that you like, you can actually right-click the image and copy the image and paste it in here. Init scale. I want, you know, the scaling of the initial of the rendering higher. Well, usually around 2000, 2500 I like to keep it at. From there, this is the animation setting, which I'll be doing. There is other areas. You can do 2D, 3D, and then video input. Video input is pretty much, let's say you have a video file that you filmed of yourself or somebody, and you want to use that video as a model for the AI to use. You can go ahead and do that. For purpose of this tutorial, quick one is the 3D model, and I'll be going over that prompt briefly here. The video initial path, that's where I grabbed it from the Google Drive I just showed you here, and go from there. the end frame of 1 and 2, pretty much the frames of what's capturing. I could be mistaken on this, so you could definitely go with the zippies. I usually keep this 1 or 2. All this other information, I just kind of leave it as is. There's obviously way more to what I'm explaining here. Just again, give me a quick brief rundown tutorial. 2D, this is where a lot of, it applies to the 3D as well, of the angles, frame rates. So this is important. I have at 500, it definitely takes a while. I calculated roughly about T4, and my processing in each system will be different from what you're running. Along with, you definitely need your internet to be stable. I averaged about, for every 100 frames, it took about an hour and 15 minutes for the rendering. It really, time variances depends. So in total, this took about 5.5 hours to run, just quickly run through this prompt right here. I'll get back to that. So some people want to do 200, just an example. It's quicker frame rates of rendering per indicators, indices. So it's your call on that. I usually do 250, but for this one, I wanted to just double it just to see where it got me. So it's pretty much around about a 20-second roughly video or less for this 500 frames. Angle, that's where it's going to be swirling the speed, so it goes over that. And pretty much you gotta understand the X, Y, and Z axis. It's pretty much a graphing calculator. I'm not gonna go over that too much on this. The zoom rate, you can test with that. And also for the 3D, I have this right here. It's in my description. I followed one of those guys, and they explain way better than what I'm doing right now. I'm just giving you a brief rundown of the settings I have for basics here at the moment. Depth large, minus the, okay, at 80, it doubled it. And then I have turbo mode on, pretty much self-explanatory. Start at frame 10, etc. Go over that. And I have it set at 2. I believe it was at default at 3. I set at 2 due to the GPU I'm running, which is test T4. I have, so I believe 2 is good, 2 and 3. From there, you have other scaling. I have a frame skips of 70%, and it tells you right here. There's always a fine-tuned balance for all these settings, so definitely be curious, learn, tinker, and explore, and obviously follow Zippy's guide for further guidance. I'm still learning this, by the way, and so yeah. These are all extra settings. I'm not going to go too far in this. I'm just going to focus on the prompt here, and then once you settle with the prompt, you hit the diffuse, and you pretty much start running it, and then you can create the video afterwards. I have it set at 30 frames. That's one thing I learned there. I had originally at 12 or 15. 12, you would definitely want at least 15. 30 was something I tried out, so that way I didn't have to do other tools and AI tools to scale and render the after outputs of the mid video. So that was kind of helpful just to set at 30, because I had originally 12, 15, and then I found out that, well, since I'm doing 3D rendering, I wanted more pixelations and more clearer, smoother, and I had to use other AI or other video editing tools to render it even further again. So that's one thing I learned. Here's the prompting extras. It's kind of if you want to do your savings. And there's all kinds of other stuff that I'm not going to go over. There's just a lot more of this. Default 12 and 4, it pretty much explains the cuts here. Okay, there's a lot more to this, but I'm not going to go too much further into this at the moment. And there was the diffuse. Go back. I'll definitely get back to the prompt in just a sec. Once the prompt is set, let's say your internet shuts off or something happens, you lose where you left off. So you're pretty much going to click this button, resume, input your frames. So we're going to do, let's just grab an old one here. And these are all numbered, so you're going to pretty much input your frame. Let's say you got, you know, at 48. So you're going to put 48 there. Resume from last frame, excuse me. You're going to put in the DD test 7 there, then frame 48. And then this is if you want to override it. Okay, so let's get back to the prompt there. So the prompt is pretty much, you can definitely put more into this. It's up to you, but I have it set at 0, 100, 200, 300. So pretty much it will gonna initially set for this, and I have it from my initial picture that I had used right here. So if I were to go to this, which I will, I just want to show you here. This is where I pulled my picture from. So I'm using this. So this is the very first prompt, 0. It's going to be using it. So it's going to generate that or go off of this artist. I believe the artist's name is Curran. It's in the prompt. Let's get back to the prompt. There it is, Curran. Apologize if I'm messing up the name. Karam Saran, and so I have a stunning 3D holographic ocean floor reef, extreme detail, 8K Unreal Engine, artist name, trending on ArtStation, depth of field. All this is optional for, you know, if you want to put in or take out depth of field or any of these. I just have an extra for what I was trying to get at for testing and also showcasing this. Then the extra frame rates. So pretty much it starts at 0, and then once it hits frame 100 from rendering, it's going to create a whole new prompt here I have here. Same with 200 and 300. So when you're all said and done, and also eliminating the errors and making sure that I'm just going to do this collapse here again. Make sure you have 1 and 2 and 3. Pretty much all of them are green and good, no reds like this one, okay? So pretty much for that, let's say you did this good, you can actually just go here and run all. So I'm just showcase what I did for this tutorial. So I did all of that, and I ran it, and it gave me the results. So that's that, and then the output was according to this folder here. So it has everything here, so you can see I have all the frames, all the stuff from the prompt. And let's go to the next part. Is pretty much that rendered, you created the video. Steps to this. Okay, so here's the rendered final video, and what's nice is it also gives you the settings here. You can right click and keep it and download it or share it, and same with this one. So this is the final video that came out, and I download it. And then that's what I used to go ahead and for my editing tools. Now here's the second part, is Mubert. Well, what is Mubert? Mubert is pretty much a AI generative music. Yeah, so I took the song Allan Walker Unity. I copied in here, copyright, and Mubert, I sign in, is free to use. Obviously there's other paid versions, but I just use it free to test it out. And you can go ahead and put in the link here, and there's definitely different settings. I'm just showing you quickly. There's track, loop, jingle, and mixture of different AI generative tunes and tones. I'm not going to get further into that. Mubert has a lot of information to explore, so I'm just going to hit track. And then how long do you want it? I want this, let's do 1 minute and 45 for the purpose of this, and it will just go ahead and generate that track, and it's going to process it and go from there. I have two other I had already processed from other videos, and then from there I'll show you what I had used. I had used in the video per this video is these two right here, and from there I just plugged into my editor. And that's how I was able to come up with this video. So I'm sure it just involves a lot of tinkering and just learning, and I'm still learning, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is a quick tutorial. Please look in the descriptions for further information, and if you like this video, subscribe, and thank you for your time.